text, Food for Thought, Cafeteria Menus Shape Up. Yesterday, we previewed this text and we read the text, and we learned that, good readers, when they skim through the text, before they even begin reading, it really sets our brains up. We have now this better understanding or an idea of what the text is about, right? We looked at those nonfiction text features, the headings, the photographs. We saw this little girl carrying the lunch tray. And then we even saw this changes schools are making, the text box here. And we knew before we even started reading that this informational article was all about school lunches and how they are changing. About the structure, right? Not to be confused. They sound very similar, but they're actually two very different things. The features refer to the photographs, the headings, the titles, maybe charts or maps that are included, but the structure refers to, again, how authors organize the text. We looked at this section of the text, Lighten Up, and we even had somewhat of a debate about whether this section was organized using problem and solution or cause and effect. And we added that to our graphic organizer. We even discussed that really both could be correct as long as you provided the evidence to support your thinking. And some said, that what's causing these cafeteria changes to occur is that right here you can see that there are health problems occurring. So some students may have thought, well, that's problem and solution. The problem being the health problems and the solution being changes to the menu. So both were correct depending on the evidence that you included in your graphic organizer to support your thinking. Before we jump in today, I just want you to kind of wake your brain up on this Friday morning and think, what do you recall from this article? What information do you remember? This article is mostly about changes that are being made to the cafeteria menus to help make them healthier. We're making changes such as from regular pasta to whole grain pasta, from flour tortillas to whole wheat tortillas. I want to draw our attention to this text box right here. Oftentimes, readers are given questions, maybe on a test or just while they're, throughout their reading, and you might have to really pay close attention to the information provided in the nonfiction text features such as this text box. So I want you to, if you need to pause this video, I want you to go back and just reread the information in this text box and then come back to the video so we can discuss. And now I want to take a moment and ask you just a couple questions. First, what are 3 big changes that schools are making to their lunch menus? If you have someone next to you, you can turn and talk or just think to yourself. Again, that's 3 big changes that schools are making to their lunch menus. Okay, now that you've had a second to turn and talk or think to yourself, take a look. I can see right here there are 3 subheadings within this text box. Do you see them? This white writing here. So I noticed there are 3 sections. This actually identifies the 3 big changes that schools are making. They are now increasing whole grains, reducing sugar, and also working to reduce unhealthy fat. Again, see how the nonfiction text features help you to answer these questions? My next question is, what is it that schools are doing to reduce sugar? Again, that's what are schools doing to reduce sugar? You can turn and talk with someone next to you or think to yourself. Okay, now that you've had a second to talk, how many of you went right to this section? You looked at that subheading, reducing sugar, and then you saw these 2 bullet points. That's right. So what schools are doing to help reduce sugar, we can look right here. They're replacing chocolate milk with plain low-fat milk. Schools are also replacing canned fruit with fresh fruit. The last question that I want to ask you is, really, how did this text box help you understand? How did it give you more information to help you understand this article? You can turn and talk with someone or think to yourself. Okay, so what I am noticing is that this entire article is about making healthier options available in school cafeterias. This text box really goes through and highlights just some of those simple changes, very specific changes that schools are making. For example, changing from the chocolate milk to low-fat milk, making a change from canned fruit to fresh fruit. So again, it's supporting the big ideas that are here in the text, but giving you very specific examples, such as, last one, changing things like chicken nuggets and French fries to the roasted chicken and root vegetables. I know, yum. So again, just keeping in mind, guys, the whole purpose of this is really that we understand and we recognize that as readers, when we are encountering especially an expository or an informational text, it is critical to pay close attention to these nonfiction text features. Sometimes we may overlook them in our effort to read through the text and kind of get to the end, but paying close attention to these, whether it's a caption or a heading or a text box, can really help our overall understanding of the text. So in the second part of this video, I'm going to go through and share with you the graphic organizer to talk about the part that you are going to do on your own. Now, so that you can see both items that you will need for now the independent part that you guys are going to complete. So you are going back to the text right over here, tying the score. Again, guys, that is in your Making Meaning workbook on pages 8 and 9. So you do not need to pull it up on the computer. I have it there just in case for some reason you can't find your workbook. You are going back, you are just reading this section under the heading Early Days. It starts off in the beginning. You are reading just that paragraph, and then it follows through right here on the next page. There's a second paragraph. So you're reading this part and this part. Once you have finished reading that text, you are then going to come over here to the graphic organizer. And we started this on Wednesday and Thursday together. We identified the text structure in this section in the basket from tying the score, and we also gave evidence to support. Then we went into the text Food for Thought, and we looked at that section Lighten Up. And remember, we said that it could have either been cause and effect, some people thought problem and solution, and we included evidence to support our thinking. So today, after you read that section Early Days with those 2 paragraphs, you are going to come right here to this section, and you are going to tell us the structure of the section Early Days. You can look back in your notebook at that anchor chart we created together. If you are having trouble remembering